Miles was talking to us yesterday, and I guess one of the things he had commented was today was going to be the day that you find out who really kept themselves in shape and geared up and ready for the season. Was that the case today in practice?
Yeah, the guys look great. I mean, they're in really good shape. Miles has done a great job with his body, staying in shape. I felt like the group as a whole was in very good shape. Give credit to our performance team, our weight room group, and getting our guys ready for this camp. So look good. I mean, these guys were moving up and down. We played a lot of 5-on-5 today, got up and down, and they sustained their energy for the entire practice.
Let's go to Nick Carboni, then Rick Bonnell.
Hey, JB, with such a, squeezed, I guess, training camp or shorter than usual, what do you lose? Is there anything you can gain from having that short amount of time? How do you approach that?
Well, it's one day at a time. We're trying to jam in a lot right now, but, I'm trying to be patient. The group that's coming back from last year has a pulse on what we're trying to do. It's incorporating the new guys, the rookies, and a big part is going to be LaMelo and Gordon, introducing them to our program. But they're two very high IQ basketball players. Even today, they pick things up extremely quickly. And just like PJ last year, I've said this a number of times, PJ was able to absorb a lot of information quickly. And I expect LaMelo and Gordon to do the same thing. These guys have picked it up. They played a lot of basketball. Gordon knows our system. He's been watching us, and he just knows how to play basketball. So and LaMelo was a joy out there today. I mean, he's a sponge. He wants to get better. He's got a high basketball IQ. I expect those guys to get on board quickly.
Hey, JB, I don't mean to keep bouncing on the same theme, but you mentioned a couple of weeks ago that you were going to have to give some thought to going from a draft to free agency to training camp to a season opener in such an incredibly compact time, particularly since you are incorporating some people who are logically going to be big pieces this season. Can you provide any kind of specifics of anything regarding LaMelo and or Gordon that you or the coaching staff are doing, can do to try to accelerate the possibility of them getting up to speed?
Well, we've done a lot of group sessions, small group sessions, Rick, which is a little bit early for us right now, trying to get these guys up to speed. A lot of film work, a lot of individual work, and then group work as well, even before we get to practice. So we're trying to accelerate the learning curve right here. But again, I don't want to be I don't want to skip steps here. And I think there's a tendency right now. I know my nature is to push and put too much out there right now. I've got to be patient with this group, especially early on. Let's see how they do and they respond physically. Number one, we haven't played in 9 months. So really looking at their bodies, making sure that they're healthy and they're ready to gear up here. Secondly is making sure that they're mentally ready to go and they can absorb the amount that we're throwing at them. And I'm just taking it day by day. The biggest thing is being patient and taking it day by day, giving them as much information as they can handle, not doing too much, not doing too little. And that's just my gut feel on a day-to-day basis. I think Gordon's going to pick stuff up quicker than potentially Melo, but Melo's high basketball IQ. He's going to pick up this system fairly quickly.
When you mention patience, how are you coordinating, say, with Joe and such and the strength conditioning people when, I mean, you guys weren't in the restart. You've gone 9 months without playing a game. Yeah. How do you strike a balance between trying to get them up to speed versus not risking them physically?
Yeah, I think that the number one thing has to be health right now, Rick. It's got to be our health. And that's the virus, number one, and then the body. There's two factors. There's two X factors here at play. We haven't played in 9 months, and there's this virus out there. We've got to be very aware of both, because if our guys aren't healthy, either because of the virus or because they're getting injured, it's going to set us back threefold right now. And the more we can stay healthy right now, stay on the floor, keep getting reps, the better we're going to be long term. So at the top of our board with Joe, our performance team, he's doing a great job of making sure we're staying healthy, we're following protocol. Our guys have bought into that, staying healthy, virus free. And then I've got to, work through their shape, how they're looking on the court, making sure they're staying healthy. We're not doing too much. And, our performance team is leading the charge in that area.
Thanks.
Let's go to Sam and then Rod.
Hey, JB, happy Friday. I've got just a two-part question. This means so much to you, coaching, and how much you love being around the guys, and I know it's been a long time. If you had a chance to just kind of stop and think for a second, like, wow, we're back in it after, I don't want to know how often you think about the game in Miami, but how long it's been that you're finally here, and I know it's exciting for you. And then the second part would be just with playing smaller lineups this year, have you thought about sort of how you guys are going to over or compensate for maybe some limitations you have on defense or rebounding?
Yeah, well, the first part, I'm extremely excited. And this morning, I guess it really hit me this morning that we're back, putting a practice plan together, meeting with my staff, and then seeing these guys on the floor for the first time as a team. And it was a thrill to be out there with them, coaching them. It's the first step in our long journey together, and that's what we talked about today. This is a journey. We do it one day at a time, one step at a time, and today was our first step. So I couldn't be more excited, more thrilled to coach this group. And I guess it really hit me this morning, as I was sitting there with my practice plan, reviewing it, and then meeting with my staff. And it just feels like we're back in rhythm now. So it feels good to be back out there. To answer your second question, how do we compensate for rebounding? Is that what that was?
Just, I know the intention is to play smaller, faster, more ball handlers now. Have you thought about sort of what it's going – if you're going to do that, obviously there's going to be a little bit of drawback maybe on the other side. Have you thought about how you're going to compensate for that, or I assume it's probably just going to be a big collective team effort?
Well, the first thing is a concept we talk about a lot is prevention is cure. We can't let the ball get to the paint as easily this season, especially if we're small. So if it gets there, we're going to be in trouble. We want to prevent it before it gets there. That starts on the ball, in our shifts, in our loads, in our on-ball defense on the perimeter. Once the ball gets up on the glass and gets to the rim, it's about physicality. We've got to become a more physical, determined team on the board. All five guys committed to rebounding, which we know ignites our offense. We want to play faster. If you rebound it, you get to bring it. Grab that thing and go, push the pace. But we have to be committed as a group to hit bodies, be more physical in the paint, snatch, and go with the rebound. So we're capable of it, Sam. We're more than capable of being a better defensive rebounding team. We just got to commit to it.
Thank you.
Hey, JB, Rod Boone here. The schedule comes out today, obviously a little bit later on today for you guys the first half. Just wondering, as your your third year here, what do you look at first when the schedule comes out? Anything in particular jump out at you, and what do you want to, I guess, see when the schedule does come out? Is it road trips? Is it your first couple of games at home? What do you want to see first when you look at the schedule?
Yeah, I look at the first game. I always look at the first game. That was my first look. Who do we play first? Who do we open with? And then I really get down to breaking down. And again, our group does a really good job. Our staff and our front office does a good job of breaking down the schedule as a whole, looking at number of back-to-backs, number of games per month, per week. And then from there, really building out our schedule and our practice plan. So it's going to be nice today to get that schedule, be able to build out our schedule for the entire month of December, and then looking at January. In the past, I'd look at Christmas Day or, All-Star break period. Those are sort of some, I guess, benchmarks or earmarks for us on the schedule. But this year, looking at the schedule as a whole, I think is going to be important. We have a ton of games. If you look at our schedule, so far from what I've seen, we're playing fairly consistently throughout the next 2 months. So, again, I think the biggest point here is we got to keep our bodies right, keep our minds moving forward, and really being balanced in our schedule and how we put this thing together.
Thank you.
Let's go to Zach Aldridge, then Christian Winfield.
Hey, JB. Last season, Mitch kind of mentioned how he wanted you to be able to maybe deal with losses a little bit better than what your makeup might be like. Yesterday, when talking to Miles, he said the expectation for this season is to make the playoffs and that he doesn't want the team to be a bottom feeder in the East anymore. Hearing that and hearing maybe how the new talent and new players on the roster might have maybe changed the mindset even more to raise those expectations. How do you feel about that as you go into the season with maybe heightened expectations and certainly heightened hype around the team now?
Well, regardless of, the whether we acquired Gordon or not, or LaMelo, the expectations we're going to get raised regardless. For me, the bar has to be a much higher bar for us. We have to move up our expectations. And I think we did that last year. My job as the head coach of this team is to maximize the roster and the players that I've been given. And to me, that last year we maximized our group. I think we pushed that group extremely hard. We finished 9th in the East. I think everybody had us finishing last in the entire NBA. We finished 9th in the East. And to me, expectations from the outside, that doesn't bother me. It doesn't worry me. What does matter are the expectations and the bar that's set on the inside. And regardless of those, whether Gordon's here or not, LaMelo's here or not, the bar was going to be raised. And I've been challenging our guys the entire break to raise their level of professionalism, their drive, their commitment to being great, because each one of us has greatness in us. You just got to reach that greatness. And that's the goal for me. I'm not putting anything other than that on these guys. I love that they're driven by the playoffs. That's great. To me, it's about getting better every single day, raising the bar every single day, bringing your greatness every single day. Where that takes us, we'll all find out. And I'm excited about where that leads us. The more talent you have, the more opportunities you're going to have. So I'm extremely excited to coach this group.
Hey, Coach. Christian Winslow here with the New York Daily News. You obviously, I feel like you can kind of break rookies up into two categories, right? You get rookies who have gone through the traditional United States high school system, gone to college, get drafted. And then you've got guys who are coming from overseas, right? Who don't really know the U.S. like that, who kind of created their own name overseas, come over here, and then make a career. When you look at LaMelo, who went through a U.S. high school system, then goes over and competes overseas, I mean, maybe it's not rare recently, but in the grand scheme of NBA draft classes, it's kind of rare. Is that, or have you noticed any differences between him having that background versus other guys that you've worked with in their first year?
I think a couple of things I've noticed of him. He's been around professionals, and he's been a professional himself for a couple of years now. Not that you can't come in with those type of habits out of college, but he's been playing with grown men, and he's been a professional for a number of years, and he still knows the NBA. He still knows the U.S. game, and he's very aware, obviously, being around his brother and brothers. He's been following the NBA for years. He grew up watching the NBA. He knows what that life is like in the NBA, and he's got the experience now being a professional. You marry those two together, that's a pretty good start for him. So I love the fact that he's been a pro, the fact that he's been around NBA basketball, and to me, he's a sponge right now. He really is. He's just trying to get better. He wants to learn the game. He's got good habits already. He's got a great spirit about him. So where that comes from, I'm not exactly sure. I think it's a combination of just being around it, loving it, and then going overseas and having to figure it out on his own. I think that's one of the beauties in LaMelo is he's had to figure out how to be a professional for the most part on his own. That's a great skill to have, especially this early in his career.
All right, let's wrap up with Danny, guys.
Coach, can you hear me?
Hello.
Coach, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right. We spoke about this during the grind camp or the mid camp that we had a couple weeks ago with rotations. I know you have LaMelo, you have Gordon, you have the new guys coming in. But when you said you're playing 5-on-5 today, how did you break up the guys in the groups of five? Was it more of the starting five last year versus the newer guys, or did you kind of do a mix How did the rotations look today?
You trying to steal you want me to give you my practice plan?
I mean,
I'm just joking. Today was just, I wanted to balance the groups. There was not a first team, second team. I had the groups really mixed up today, to answer your question. And I think I'm very much in evaluation mode right now. I've not been around LaMelo. I've not been around Gordon. I've not been around these rookies very much. How they blend together, I'm evaluating that right now. That's probably the biggest thing for me. And then being, flexible and adapt to what I see on the fly. Tomorrow I'll probably mix up the teams again, look at different lineups, different combinations. We are going to play small some. We'll look at some different lineups with PJ at the 5. But today we had Terry and Tay play a lot together. I had Gordon and LaMelo a lot together. I think that's the furthest I'll take it today. And then we'll just adjust from there on the fly. But a lot of evaluation right now, different combinations as we learn this roster.
Thanks, JB.
You got it.
Rick, did you have one more before we go? Sorry, I didn't know if your hand was still up or not.
Yeah, JB, everybody okay physically?
We are physically okay. We are. You have anything more specific?
Yeah, do you have all 20 players available?
You could have just asked me that. We do not have Malik Monk. He tested positive for the virus, asymptomatic. He'll probably be out a few more days, but unfortunately, he's been out the last few days, and look forward to getting him back soon. He's in, we're following all the protocols and making sure he's healthy, number one, but he is asymptomatic, and hope to get him back here in the next few days.
Hey, I don't know all the protocols, but just as far as what I know, what like the NFL and college football has gone through, is he going to have to go through like heart testing and such before he would be cleared to practice? Are there things that are beyond just a period of time passing?
Good question, Rick. I'm not exactly sure. We're
Sure.
actually, I think this is new for everybody. So we're learning from the league what we have to do, and obviously they're going to try to do everything they can to keep us safe and the players safe and make sure that they're healthy to return. I think we trust that and know that, and we're working with the league on that as we speak.